Hey guys, how you doing? Sean is with us today because he knows way more about this subject than I do, and we're going to talk about Alberta home care and what's available to seniors, and we'll get into it, and Sean will explain why he actually knows about this because he's a senior and he needs help. So we're going to talk about Alberta home care. It's going to be different in different provinces, but we're excited to have a chat about it.
Yeah, because we generally, I mean, you and I have talked about this for years, where we sort of say, like, what benefits are available to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we're doing financial plans for people, how realistic are our numbers in terms of, like, will their expenses drop in their 70s, or will they increase with drug costs and cost of home care and things like that? And it's hard to get the information when you don't have somebody who's in the system. But so my dad's sort of in the system now, so I have like a bit of an understanding of how it works.
And your sister works.
And my sister basically does this. She assesses seniors and decides what level of care they can get.
Right, so you have a sister that does this, and your dad is accessing this level of home care. So that's the thing, is that's why you know that your dad's getting this great care and it's not costing him anything, right? One of the things that I've talked to you about before was my granddad wanted to stay in his home when my nana, kind of had dementia for the last decade of her life. And so they had two great Filipino girls that basically lived with them and stayed there for over a decade. And then after my nana died, my granddad still needed help around the house because now he was in his 90s. So it was very expensive out of pocket for my granddad to stay in his own home.
Yeah.
But your dad wouldn't have that kind of money to be able to access
and I mean,
private care like that.
Yeah,
right?
and every provincial government is incentivized to keep people in their homes, right? It's because the cost of having people in long-term care before they need to be is astronomical for these governments. It's like $4,500 a month or $5,000 a month for the government to have somebody, in long-term care. If you have a certain amount of money, you pay half and the government pays half. But for a lot of Alberta seniors, they don't have the money to pay for that first half. So the government pays the freight. They pay the full $5,000 a month for, and and they want people to stay in their homes because a lot of times people just need a little bit of help, right? They don't necessarily need to be toileted or bathed or whatever. They just need a little help with laundry or exercise or cleaning their house or whatever. They have some mobility issues, and they just need a little bit of help.
So what options do seniors have here?
I think the old system is called self-managed care. So there's a self-managed care, and then the newer system is the client-directed home care invoicing program. Self-managed care is a little bit more complicated, but it gives you a little bit more choice. And the invoicing program is pretty simple, really. And that's the program that my dad is in.
Okay, so you've got him in this invoicing program, so he gets somebody to, how does that work? I don't even.
Basically, as soon as you get to a point as a senior living in Alberta where you feel like I need some extra help at home, maybe I need some aids to daily living is another thing, but basically as soon as you are in a situation where you feel like I need a little extra help at home, I'm by myself, or I have a partner, but my partner has a life, has a job, is going out, you contact AHS and fill out some paperwork. It's really not that complicated. And then they'll send somebody who will become your caseworker, and they'll do an assessment. They'll watch you sort of get out of bed. They'll watch you doing your daily routine, and they'll watch you do it, and then they'll make a determination. Yes, you need this certain level of care. We determine that you need 3 hours a day. And then you go on to the Alberta Blue Cross website. There are providers there that are preferred providers by Alberta Blue Cross and AHS. You check you get one of them to come to your house. You kind of interview them, find out if there's like chemistry there, or if it's going to be a fit, and then you're kind of out of the equation at that point. Then Alberta Blue Cross is directly billed by the third-party care provider. Alberta Blue Cross pays the provider, and then Alberta Blue Cross is compensated by AHS. You don't have anything to do with it. Whereas with self-managed care, it's a little bit more complicated in the older system because you have to take like a 3-hour course, which is like, for people as lazy as us, it's a long time.
Right.
Like 3 hours is a long time.
Sitting in a room for 3 hours, yeah.
And you're like a business owner, like you have to set up a business account, and then you tell Alberta Blue Cross how much care you had, then they compensate you, then you pay the provider, and you keep all the documents and the receipts. And
so it's an accounting, logistical kind of nightmare, especially if you're in need of long-term care. Maybe your mental health your mental capacity is declining, whatever. Yeah, it does. I'm glad they straightened that out.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you more options because in self-managed care, it can be anybody as long as it's not a family member, right? So you can just sort of get the hours, get the money, and then say they don't even necessarily have to be a healthcare aide, but the invoicing program is better because you have a professional healthcare aide. They know what they're doing. And also what I've been told is in the invoicing program, if you want the care to be provided by a certain company and they don't appear on the Alberta Blue Cross list, they can be a part of it. Right. They can become accredited. It's not that complicated for them to be put into the system to be used. So it works pretty well.
So in the other system, you would have had to pay out of pocket and then be reimbursed?
They would put the money into your business account and then you would pay them.
So
you would
either
be paid
way,
first.
It's never
either way.
Pocket.
The only out-of-pocket expenses that you're going to have is if you need them to drive you somewhere. If you want them to drive you to the grocery store or drive you to the gym or then you'll have to compensate the provider directly for gas. But other than that, there's really no out-of-pocket expenses.
And what about hours? Like, so you said somebody comes in, they get assessed for 3 hours a day. How many hours can you get? And can you get more how does that work if you need more?
You can get, for my dad, it's 3 hours a day. They come in, they put together a care plan, and the care plan is sort of put together by the family and the person who does the assessment. They'll tell you how many hours you qualify for, and that's kind of, where it stays. And then every 6 months, there's another assessment done. So the assessments are happening pretty consistently, where they come back and see, do you need more care? Do you need a higher level of care? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? And you can get up to, on the invoicing program, you can get up to 40 hours a week of additional care, which is pretty significant.
Sure.
Self-managed is 48, so you can get more under self-managed, but with both self-managed and the invoicing program, you can apply to get additional resources on top of that, on top of those hours. So you can, but theoretically, you can get even more than that. But yeah, you're essentially looking at topping out at 40, which is pretty significant. Like that's a lot of hours.
Certainly, but I guess what happens if you're somebody that needs 24 hours, that's taking you into a home, I guess, probably, right?
Yeah.
Like unless you can afford for private care.
Yeah.
Or because I was talking about this with you and your dad, was that you guys might have to take him into your house.
Yeah, exactly. Or, I think before these programs existed, you'd have a whole bunch of seniors that would going into long-term care before they needed to.
Right.
They needed a little bit of care, they needed a little boost, but they couldn't necessarily afford it. It was pretty expensive to bring somebody in. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll just go into long-term care to save myself this money. So this just keeps seniors in their homes way longer, which is where people want to be generally anyway, right? Is they want to stay in their homes as long as they can.
Well, I mean, I've heard stories about long-term care homes that sound like they're a pretty good time.
Yeah, they sound like a great time if you like slippery smooth peaches and yogurt and soap operas.
Right.
Then they are a good time.
What about if you're a multi-millionaire? Are they making you pay for this?
No. I mean, yeah, that's one of the cool parts about it is it's not income tested, it's not asset tested. There's no, you can have any level of assets, you can have any level of income, and you qualify for the full benefits of these programs.
Sweet. And you said they'll basically, so when they put together the care package, they'll basically do anything for you, like laundry. They'll like, you're gonna have a cleaning service.
I know where you're going with this, and
no,
not anything. No, they'll do laundry, cleaning, help you with exercise, take you for a walk. Assistance in the bathroom, assistance getting out of bed, picking your clothes, like that kind of thing. So for my dad, he's blind, so he needs help. So he needs like a second set of eyes and somebody to make sure that his shirt's blue and not pink or whatever, right?
Right.
Make sure he's not wearing one of my mom's blouses or something.
Well, I mean, I don't think it matters.
It would feel really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, is there anything else? I think even I have like these 12 questions. One of the things is we have a PowerPoint that from AHS, I think. I don't know where you got it.
There's a PowerPoint.
So if you want access to that information, you can just email us at info@k4financial.ca, and I'll forward that along to you, and then we'll spam you probably every 2 days to come and use us for your financial planning needs.
Yeah.
No, we don't spam people. If you want it, we can certainly send it to you. It's got more information. Is there anything else you can think of that we missed?
Well, I mean, I guess that it's for anybody who lives in Alberta and even outside of Alberta. It's get a hold of your health authority and find. It's difficult to find out this information. They don't necessarily make it readily available.
No, they're not giving away stuff that costs them money. Like they don't. That's why it's hard for me to find GIS information now. Is like, or it's hard to find information on how to get OAS and GIS if you're an immigrant, where they don't publicly share that with us because they don't want us.
Well, if you think of the cost,
know really, right?
Think of the cost of this. If you were a senior who needed 40 hours of care for free per week at $35 an hour billed to Blue Cross, I mean, how much is that?
70 grand a year.
Yeah, like $70,000 potentially of care per year for a senior who needs extra assistance at home to stay in their homes.
So thanks to Sean for teaching us something for once.
That's true.
Right.
I don't know much about it anyway.